In this presentation, I will demonstrate how you can begin to import your own database after you've initiated your initial Foodco trial. The first thing you'd want to do is to come up to the Setup drop-down menu and go to Profit Centers. Foodco has a demonstration database defaulted with the installation when you install the program. You can add your own Profit Center by clicking on Add and then entering in the name of the profit center or location that you're going to begin working with. The account number is for internal accounting if you have one, and other information pertaining to that location. Once completed, go ahead and click on Save. To close any windows in Foodco, you can simply click on the lower X in the upper right hand corner of the screen. After the profit center has been defined, you can then drop down a list of the profit centers inside the database and select your profit center, and then any windows that you select from that point forward will be pertaining to that location. To import a database from an order guide or a spreadsheet that you might have, the first thing you need to do is to save that order guide into a text delimited format. When you first access the import module, you will be displayed a list with no interfaces written at this point of time. To add a new import, simply click on the Add Import and answer No to use the default settings. You will then give the import a description. Then you will be prompted for the type of import that you want to perform. In this case, we want to use the Import Update Inventory Items. At that point, go ahead and select Next. You will then be prompted for the location of the file. In this case, I want to use the order guide modified and click Open. This will display a sample of the file that you're about to import to verify that it is the correct one. If it is, select Yes. We will then be asked what the file format that you are going to use. In this case, I've saved my file to a tab delimited format. The data starts on the second line, and the profit center we want to import into is the Paisano. At this point, go ahead and select Next. This is the screen where you will cross-reference the information to the fields of information kept inside of Foodco. In this case, my item number is here, so I click within the field and click on item number to cross-reference the value. The item description, we can come over and scroll across the record to determine what the item is, and in this case it's pot and pan. Go ahead and click on that. That will cross-reference the description. The case description, just click on there, select case description. The case cost, the part description. In this case, we have one. Most will not have that available. It's a 1 gallon, so we have a part description. And then the parts per case is going to be 2. If you have a category selected, you can select category and cross-reference that with the general ledger account number. You can use the next and previous to view the different items within the database to verify that all the information is correct, as you see up here on the top. Once everything's completed, you can simply answer Done and answer Yes that you're ready to exit. At that point, you would highlight the interface, click on the Run Import button. It'll ask you to verify that you're ready to run the import. Answer Yes. At that point, we've simply imported 140 records as it indicates here. We didn't have any errors, and we can now continue with the program. After the database has been imported, there are a few steps that you'll want to take to set up a couple areas of the program before you continue to verify the items. The next thing you'll want to set up is your general ledger accounts. In this case, I have the general ledger account number, which we imported, and I've already copied the description over for each one of the GL accounts. This is merely a list of GL accounts that corresponds to your financial P&L statement. What you would do is go up to Setup and go ahead and select Framework. The framework is much like the general ledger accounts, although this area allows you to set up a little bit different layering for reporting detail. In this case, I'll go ahead and begin by putting in a department for our food. At that point, I'll add a category to that department, such as meat, and that will indent it in so it's a subcategory of the department food. At that point, I'll want to select a group, which is again a sublisting of category meat. In this case, I'll go ahead and type in beef, and then I would have other groups underneath there for poultry, pork, so on and so forth. You can then add additional categories for produce, dairy, and any other categories that you want. When you're building the framework, you can move items up and down the list to organize it in the manner that you want. Keep in mind that if you are running reports based on framework, you'll want to list the items that have the most importance to you at the top of the list. Once you've established your framework, you can then close the framework, and that list will become available inside of our inventory items. Once you have those defined, you can go into items, and then you will see the items that have been imported into the database. Let me go ahead and do a search, and I'm just going to go ahead and select the artichoke heart. Okay, in this case, we have case equals 12 13.75 ounce containers. Our part description on how we're going to inventory it if we don't have a full case is a 13.75 ounce container. We have 12 parts per case. The unit code was not provided inside of our import file, so we must define that for this item. In the case of artichoke hearts, we probably want to use those by the weight ounce, and then we need to determine the number of units per case. In this case, I can just simply use our calculator by typing in 12 times the 13.75 ounces to give us 165 weight ounces for the entire case of product. When we enter that value in, it will display the unit cost per weight ounce for the artichoke heart. You can also use secondary unit codes in the case of count, so I could also assign a secondary unit measure if I want to use them by the each, and then I can determine how many units per case or what the ratio of a weight ounce is for that. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use the 9 times the 12 packages to give me 108 artichoke hearts per case. When we have unit codes assigned to an item, you can then use that unit of measure when building your recipes. The other information you'll want to verify is the inventory group as we defined in our framework, and then what general ledger account you're going to use for that item. You will want to go through each one of the items in the database using the Next button to define each one of these items. In many cases where you have a case description, you can use the case lookup function within the program by clicking on the ellipses and then simply typing in the case description to locate the one that you want, find the one that matches on the cases, parts, and unit information, and double click on it, and it will automatically assign the case description, part description, unit code, and the parts per case and units per case. This is the end of this lesson. Should you have any questions about importing your database, or if you'd like us to do that for you, please give us a call at 801-225-7907, or you can email us at support@foodco.us.